Hi, everyone, and welcome to Gladverse TV. My name is Laura Borland, and I'm the host of this amazing show in which we look at the silver lining as our North Star. I am super psyched today to have a dear collaborator, friend, Zurlia Servellon. She is just an amazing human being. She's an author and PR expert and coach. And also, again, one of the collaborators on that book I did last year called Gladversity. Her story is so compelling about bouncing back from tragedy. And I'm so excited she's here. And Zurlia, welcome.
Thank you so much for having me here. I'm so excited.
Yeah, me too. So you have the most compelling story of overcoming what I consider to be like one of those life-altering events. Do you care to share what happened?
Absolutely. I can't wait to share. I was actually trying to come up with the content of what am I going to share tomorrow? What am I going to share with Laura? And I started writing and I came up with the first chapter of my book.
Oh, I love
because I had a very traumatic childhood, as you already know. And I think it can help a lot of people.
Of course.
Ready. So the first thing happened, actually, I had a hypnosis not too long ago. And I realized that my very first traumatic event happened when I was 3 years old.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah. And that was actually the one that marked me the most. I thought it had happened when I was 7, when my father died, and then the earthquake and all of that. But when I was 3, I was sexually assaulted as a little girl. And that one is the one that has really had an impact on my relationships with men as an adult. And
it's so, I'm sorry, I don't mean to cut you, but it's so interesting. I just, I taped an episode not too long ago regarding sexual assault. And I am a sexual assault survivor as well. It happened when I was 14. But one of my guests had that same thing at around your age. And, it's really a powerful episode of just discussing, the after effects of that, the residual effects into your adult life and what that can do. So tell me a little bit more. Tell me more of your story.
Yeah, because we really don't know who we truly are outside of conditioning sometimes. And it's hard to really know ourselves outside of, all the different experiences that we go through.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes we don't even know, because I didn't even know. I just knew that I had a really hard time being vulnerable with men, but I had no idea why. I wanted to open up and show my emotions and all of this. Normal things, but I was unable to do so. And I thought it was because my father had died and I felt abandoned, and I had a father wound from my childhood. So for many, many years, I worked on that trauma. But I came to realize not too long ago that it was actually from sexual assault that I went through when I was 3 years old. Well, and that was the very first time that happened. And I'm just sharing it because I know a lot of women have a hard time, coming out of an experience like that. On the hypnosis, I noticed that I was feeling really guilty, and I would blame myself subconsciously for what had happened, especially because I never shared with my family. I never told anybody.
Right.
Don't say anything. So I didn't say anything. And for many, many years, I felt guilt, but also I would try to repel male figures in my life. I masked my emotions as strength and as being the business woman that didn't need nobody,
right?
Being independent. But sometimes we really have to look into the deep root of why we behave the way we do.
That is so incredibly powerful what you're sharing, and just so many synergies with the conversation I had with my previous guests. Look, it is so pervasive, the whole realm of sexual assault, and especially with children. And we're just conditioned in a lot of ways to keep that inside. It is a shame for us, right? Especially in the Western culture, where there's a high premium placed on a woman's virginity. That, you should save that for marriage or whatever craziness that is. But the bottom line is that, people look at you. I used to think that people would look at me as being promiscuous had they heard that had happened, right? To me at 14. But I can imagine you being younger, you're wondering if you're a wild child. You see what I'm saying? Like, you don't even, there are just so many different ways in which people have a hard time just processing that. And again, suppressing all of that pain.
Yes. And it's funny because yesterday when I was writing, I was crying and I was like, okay, maybe there's still emotions stored in my body that need to come out. So it's a good thing that I'm working through all of the hidden emotions that I'm not consciously aware of at the moment. But when I was writing, and then a lot of memories started coming into my mind, that I stopped letting my mother even touch me too. I was like, I'm a big girl. I can shower myself. I can do everything alone. So she was really proud of me. She thought I was like a really smart, independent little girl. But the reality was that I was trying to hide what had happened to me from her. So from 3 years old, I pretty much stopped being a child. And it was kind of like a mask of, look how strong and smart I am. But in reality, like my soul was in so much pain and nobody could see that. And I wasn't aware of it either.
Right.
Which is why a lot of things we grow up into being these, adults that feel miserable, but we don't even know why until we deal with what's really the problem, Because I remember for many, many years, I kept chasing the next success, like what's next? Oh, I got a master's degree. Okay, cool. Like, what's next? Oh, I'm going to go on a trip. What's next? But nothing felt good
satisfying.
Yeah, I was never really satisfied with anything until I learned to deal with everything and understand everything, and now I feel happy. And that's something that I want viewers to really understand, that even if you don't know what's going on, it's always really good. It's really worth looking for the core problem, because there's always got to be something there. Because we as humans, like, when you're born as a child, you're an innocent child. You don't have resentment, you don't have anger, you don't have insecurities. You're not born with insecurities. Those are things that
learned,
brat, and they dump it onto you.
Right.
You're not really insecure. You're not really scared. You're not really angry, or all of these other, I don't want to say negative emotions, because they're all emotions and they're valid, but feeling all of these emotions that they're not true, because when we are born, we're all full of love and innocence. And it's hard to go back there and try to get to know ourselves as we truly are, without all the garbage society into us.
So when you mentioned that it was through a hypnosis session that all of this was unearthed, right? All the stuff you had buried was unearthed. Did you try other methodologies prior to that let you felt something was lacking?
Yeah. So what happened was, last year in 2020, my then husband came and asked me for a divorce. And that was the catalyst for change for me, because I felt like a victim, and I have never really felt like a victim before. And for the first time, I was feeling like a victim when
Mm-hmm.
when he came, and it was out of the blue. I thought in my head that we had a wonderful marriage, but he was like, "No, I don't think we're happy." And we had spent 10 years together. We met in high school, started dating at age 20, age 17th, and got married at 20. And at 27, he came and said, "Listen, we're not happy together. I think we're holding each other back, and you have a lot of potential. I think you can grow a lot, but there's a lot of issues that you think you've worked through, but they're still there."
Yeah.
I was honestly projecting all of my insecurities onto him and all of my issues, and he could feel them.
Mm.
So um, him asking for divorce came to me as a this pain, but the same pain was like, listen, you have to really, really deal with your stuff. Like, you have to really look into why this is happening, what is this trying to teach you, and how is this going to change you in a positive way. You can't let this experience take the best of you. So go figure it out. So I was so depressed, of course. Um, and I didn't want to be around my family or friends because I had a hard time showing my emotions too, which is some the biggest problem we had is that I was unable to show my emotions to him, and
Of
I
course.
was able to be truly vulnerable with him or anyone really.
Yeah.
Um, so I left to Mexico where I didn't know anybody, and I thought, okay, I'm gonna start new, like the movie. What is it called? Eat, Pray, Love. I was
Yeah.
like, okay, I'm going to Mexico. It's the pandemic. Nothing else is open. So I'm going to Mexico. Mexico is open. So I started there. And then there I started doing a lot of spiritual practices, breath work, sound healing. Um, I went to some coaching sections and nothing helped.
Mm.
I looked for a therapist. She didn't really help either. It was kind of like talking and talking all the time, but
No listening.
okay, I'm just paying for a friend. um, and so I actually, I don't know if you've ever heard about ayahuasca, this plant medicine in Mexico,
No.
from
What's it
Peru.
called?
Ayahuasca.
No. What is it?
Okay, you guys you have to look into it. Kind of difficult to explain, but this is this plant that the ancestors use from the Amazon of Peru. It comes from the
Yeah.
Amazon, and you drink. It's a tea, but it's a psychoactive. It's kind of like a psychedelic with
Yeah.
DMT. You drink it, and then you're in a ceremony space. You cannot do it alone, and I honestly don't recommend it to do it alone. Anyone, please don't do it alone. You're in a ceremony setting with practitioners that are really, really experienced. You
Mm-hmm.
drink it, and I remember the person who gave it to me told me, "Listen, I'm not your healer. You are your own healer.
Oh, wow.
Hold the medicine within you to really heal yourself. So take it with love and integrate what you learn." And
Yeah.
okay, I drank it, and it was like the most intense experience of my life. I literally went all the way until my mom was pregnant with me.
Wow.
And I was able to see what kind of relationship she had with my father before I was born. I was able to see my entire life. But then when I got home the next day, I was like, wait a minute. How real is this? Like what just happened? How was I like the medicine literally showed me my entire life as a movie, and it showed
Wow.
this caused you trauma, you need to let it go. This caused you trauma, and this and this and this, and it was like all of these set of events that had really marked my entire life, and I had to really deal with them. So I got home and I started looking for like hypnotherapists, like someone who can help me figure this out, because I saw all of that during the ceremony, but I was extremely confused. I needed help. And so I found this hypnotherapist, and he hypnotized me, and I was able to relieve every moment and let go of all of these traumas that I had held for many, many years. And it was pretty tough, but also very healing.
I can imagine. When you mentioned that you were writing your chapter yesterday, your first chapter, and you were in tears, writing is cathartic. And so journaling as a practice tends to do that, because you can't lie to yourself, right? So you're being as truthful as you possibly can, reliving the experience from your perspective. And think about something that has been locked away for so long, how raw it is to go back there, to relive, to replay, to understand just all the things that come with that. The loss of innocence, the forced into independence, right? Pushing away of love, and all of those things, and how, relearning to reliving something that as traumatic as that.
Yes.
That therapy, I'd be afraid to do it because I don't know if I'm ready to do all that. But that just sounds amazing, because I'm, speaking with you and looking at your mannerisms, visually, you look like you're in a good space. Mentally, there's a joy that radiates from your spirit. And has the divorce been finalized? And two, are you, what has come out of clearing out some of that old baggage?
Well, back to the therapy. I did it because I was desperate. I had no idea what else to do. So I went in and I was like, I have nothing else to lose. It's either this or what else is there, right? But yeah, the divorce, it has been in process for a while, but a lot of people were not really working because of the pandemic and all there. So they're really, really slow, but I believe it's almost finalized.
Okay.
And working through all that baggage, it taught me that all of those emotions weren't really me. I was carrying things from bad people that tried to hurt me and took my innocence away, and did all of this, traumatize me. But it is not part of who I am.
Right.
I'm a loving and nurturing person. I'm a creator, and that's what I love doing. And now I actually have a balance within myself of being feminine and masculine when I need to, and that's truly the beauty of being human, when you can create balance within yourself. And when you really learn to love yourself so deeply and to forgive yourself, you're able to give the same to others, which is something that I was completely incapable of doing before, because I didn't know what love was. I was looking at from an external perspective. I was trying to find love from other people, but I wasn't really loving myself. I wasn't giving myself what I needed. And once I started doing that, I have no issue now showing my emotions. I have no issue loving other people. I have no issue just being happy. I thought I wasn't the servant of happiness before. I wasn't the servant of abundance, of anything good, really, because if something like that happened to me at such a young age, I thought I probably deserved it. I probably did something
right.
I could have done, So I think working through all of that helped me realize that no, that's not me, and I'm not gonna let anyone take my true essence away.
It's pretty profound that you discovered that, because I recently just discovered the whole idea of self-love and understanding that being selfish is a good thing. A complete me If what I have, the excess I give to you, is of value. A depleted me who is just operating on 75% because I've given away all of my energy, all of, the things that are supposed to be for my self-care, is not something that is of value to you when I'm giving it to you, because I'm working off depleted stock. So taking those times for the self-care activities to show self-love, to exercise that care, is something that still in some ways feels foreign to me. Even though I practice it, it still feels awkward. And I guess because we're being conditioned for so long, again, to be selfish, to sacrifice. I don't have children, but for mothers, it's this whole idea that, oh, you sacrifice for your children, right? You do without. But I have a completely different mindset where I believe very strongly that a mother who takes care of herself first gives the best value to her children.
Exactly, because how are you gonna give a sweater to somebody else if you're naked? You
Brilliant. Love that metaphor.
Taking care of ourselves, our bodies, our spirits, it's extremely important.
Yeah.
I think it's something that humanity really forgets.
I definitely agree with that. And I don't know at what point it became where this whole idea of just, you do everything for everybody else and that makes you noble. You see what I'm saying? Or being, because I've written articles about it too, about this whole idea of, I wish the word humility would just disappear. This is one of those words that humiliation is a derivative of humility. Humble is a derivative of humility. And each of those words, the connotation of it is to make yourself invisible, to be like everybody else, to be common, to not pat yourself on the back when you do great things. But who should be your biggest cheerleader but yourself? You know when you've stretched yourself.
Exactly.
You know when you are just like showing up and being the best version of yourself. You know what it's like when you're the one who you're giving great advice to somebody who needs it, and that you're coming from a place of love and compassion. You know you are the best person and the best version of yourself. Who else knows that but you? Why are we waiting for external validation to make, to reinforce what we already know? I know I'm a creator. I just make things. If something needs to be fixed, I'm going to create something around it. If I don't find a solution that I want, I make it.
That's powerful. And I love it because it's true. I believe that perfectionism is just hidden insecurity. Because I try so hard to be perfect for years and years and years. Try so hard to have this appearance of, this super successful woman who can handle everything, trying to please everybody, and literally try to have everything in a perfect place. And that was truly just hitting insecurity because I was looking for external validation all the time. I wanted my mothers to say, "You're doing great." My ex-husband to say, "You're a rock star. You're a superstar. You got this." And my friends to feel the same way. And even on social media, I was trying to keep this image when in reality that was not really me. I didn't really know why I was doing those things. It's just to impress people. Makes no sense.
I agree with you wholeheartedly, because I think, it happens so often now because of social media. This, it's a world of facades. So, everyone has this public image that they're trying to maintain. One of being put together, poised, fun, adventurous, happy. But who's that audience for? Who are you trying to impress with that, right? The audience that needs to be impressed is you, because the joy comes from within. And if you are joyful, as you are, Zurlia, because it emanates from your spirit.
Oh, thank you.
Everything about, it shows. It shows that you are comfortable in your skin.
Very. For
now. And it shows that the work that you've put in has paid off. it shows that within your just the introspection and the honesty that you just shared, that you are comfortable with all that has been revealed.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And Mark, you're working through it, but there is a degree of peace.
So much peace, yes.
Yeah, there's a degree of peace. And I believe that very strongly. So when you're doing things that are aligned with your purpose,
Mm-hmm.
I think it flows differently. And I think you just radiate differently. And so, in this past year, since this pandemic, really, I've just been discovering the things that I want to do, how I want to show up in the world. And I think that has been the most cathartic thing for me so far, is just knowing more, doing more purpose aligned creations.
Mm-hmm.
So this show is all about the idea of just helping people go through adversities. And I've been through my own share. I've been through, not necessarily to the extent of tragedies that you have, because just when I thought we were going to be speaking about your earthquake story, which is just as powerful. And if you haven't seen it, go get the book Gladverse, because her whole chapter is on that. Here you come with something else that is just as powerful, mm-hmm. in a very different kind of way. Like you've had some transformative moments of your life.
And I think it's because I honestly feel that the entire universe is always trying to teach us something. And when we fail to learn,
we get knocked with a pebble first, and then next time it's a boulder.
It's like, okay, so here's a lesson. I'm gonna hit you with it and you better learn it. But if you fail, I'm gonna send it to you again in a different strategy until you learn the lesson and you are able to step into the purpose that you were sent to the world for,
Absolutely.
And that's something that I think for years, although I kept trying to tell myself I'm not a victim, there's always a reason for things to happen. Subconsciously, I did feel like a victim.
Mm.
I felt like, no, people are bad and this shouldn't have happened to me. And I kept blaming other people instead of taking full-on responsibility for my life and say, okay, I'm the own creator of my own reality.
Right.
And I'm not let anybody else destroy that for me.
I love that. I love that. It takes a lot of courage, I think, to kind of get to that point where you are able to have that honest discussion and introspection as well. But it comes with maturity and time. And understanding the lesson that was learned as well. Every experience I've had, every single one has led me to this moment and this place, and to life that I've chosen to lead, where I want to be in the service of others, mm-hmm. and to uplift. And that comes from a place of just knowing what it's like to be stuck at the bottom, to have gone through, the things that are the transformational things in my life, having lost jobs, my home, having miscarriages, having, just all different kinds of things that would normally be setbacks, right? But walking through those and being able to show up on the other side, I'm living. I'm here.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm here. I don't know what else to tell you. You always make it. If anyone is watching this right now, you've made it. Mm-hmm. One extra day. So, how do you choose to show up in this life? It's always a choice. Always, always, always a choice.
Here's the thing, positivity is not, I feel like positivity, being positive, is not an emotion, it's really a decision.
I like that. And it's also a feeling too.
Yes.
It comes from, I don't know, I feel sometimes my body just feels like I can't explain it, but it's just a different type of sensation
Mm.
And so, I don't like how it feels when I'm not in the best of moods. I don't like how it feels when I'm holding a grudge against someone. It weighs heavily on my spirit. And so I try to, one, either make decisions to a lot of people have had to move. Like, one thing COVID has made clear is that there are a lot of people who needed to go.
Mm-hmm.
There are a lot of heavy people who needed
Yes.
to move away.
Mm-hmm.
And so I did, with that closing of certain chapters. I think it allowed for me to meet people like you,
Oh.
and to allow, where it feels more like an aligned tribe of people who I need to be with for this part of my journey. So there are other people who have helped me
Mm-hmm.
and have taught me lessons to this point. And life is just, when you're going through your own expansion and your own healing, attrition happens. People fall off. It's just, your growth isn't quite where theirs are. And I'm not going back there with you. Right.
Yes.
So it's, once you make that decision, I believe that you just, again, people just fall away, and then you meet the people who are here for this part.
And attachment is another thing that I think it's really hard for a lot of people to work through, because it was really hard for myself. It was kind of like this attachment and this like neediness to keep everyone in my life. I didn't want to let go of anyone. And until I understood that love can be real and warm, but it has to be detached and universal. Until I really understood that, is that I started opening up space to bring all the people that are now helping me in my journey to evolve, to
Right.
become the best person. So yeah, I totally agree with you.
But when you said that you had like an attachment thing, I mean, you've lost a lot. So being, wanting to hold on to those around you has been your security. You hold them tight, right? You lost your dad early. You were very close to him. You lost everything with the earthquake. You were, you were homeless for a while. You saw so much, so many people around you die, people who you knew. So the ones who survived, you're just kind of like, okay, guys, listen, we're just going to be a close-knit unit, because as a pack, we've made it this far. And therefore, do not disappear. We're in this together. So it makes a lot of sense.
Yes. It came from, I think, those traumas of fear of losing people came from a very young age. But at the same time, it comes back to the self-love part. It was because I thought I needed everything and everyone to be happy, but even though I had everything and everyone, I wasn't truly happy until I learned to give that love to myself. And I had a husband, right? So I was very, I don't want to lose you, don't divorce me, and had this needy energy of keeping this person into my life, thinking that I could only be happy with him being around. And it was until I learned to heal myself and to walk alone that I actually found the peace that I never really had before.
That whole concept of walking alone, there's so much power in being comfortable in the silence, and in the comfort, in being comfortable with being alone. I never, I lived with myself for about 10 years. And it was such an interesting experience. Like, at first, every noise would like freak me out, right? Like, everything was just like, I swear, like, when I moved in, I had no furniture. And so, like, when the door everything echoed, right? So you take a shower, it's like booming across the entire place. But over time, it it kind of fed into the introvert that I am now. So even though I speak on camera, I'm exhausted dealing with people for long periods of time, right?
Yeah.
I find going out exhausting. Like I can't, that whole emotional, that stimuli, and you've got to, network, and it's not something that I find enjoyable. But it got to the point where I had to be careful because it was affecting even wanting relationships. It couldn't, I'm dating people for years. They couldn't sleep over at my house. Like, what are you doing? You know, you know what I mean? Like I wasn't letting people in. And it became, literally just a kind of tenuous situation where I didn't want to be touched anymore. I'd grown accustomed to that. So just keep that in mind, that as you're being comfortable with your skin, that to not close yourself off.
Oh, yeah. No, I'm completely open. Yes.
Right.
Yes. Yes.
The touch is important.
Yes, definitely. 100%.
Yeah.
The body needs love.
Yeah, for sure. And the good thing with love is that I've realized, and I think the pandemic has brought that to the fore. As I've told many people before, like the 10 people who you are communicating with during the pandemic are the only 10 people that matter in your life. Everyone else is background noise. Like everyone else just, they can really go by the wayside. We prioritized what was important to us and who was important to us. And so that's why I think that circle became the way that it did. Because even though the proximity of having them in my physical space, there were limitations to that, we still were able to express that love through forums like this, right? Through mediums like this, through the phone calls, through the checking in, just to make sure everybody was okay, that kind of thing. So to your point, that love is just a universal, free, it's not something that has to be physically in your space. It's one of those things that it's a felt expression.
Completely agree. 100%. And I completely agree. I feel like this past 2 years of craziness in the world, it has helped a lot of people really look into life much different. They were forced to really go into, because I feel like my healing was forced. I was not looking for this.
Yeah.
And I feel like it happened to a lot of people too, to really start looking at life and other humans in a different way.
I definitely.
I feel that I'm even more open now. Before it was more like, if somebody triggered me, it's like, what is that person doing? Why are they doing that to me? Why are they acting that way? Why are they talking about me? But now I see all of these people and I'm like, okay, they probably are going through something. It's hard out there. What are they dealing with?
Yeah.
And it's like, when someone says something that triggers any type of emotion within me,
pause.
I see it now as an opportunity to really go within and realize, okay, why is this trigger there? What type of trauma do I have to work through, or what happened that put this trigger there? It's not longer about getting angry at the other person or holding a grudge like I used before, or I'm gonna block you and good luck with life, I'm out. I don't have this type of reactions anymore, and I think it happened to a lot of people, not just me.
I definitely agree with that. I was just taping another episode about like bouncing back from financial ruin, and Damien, who was one of our collaborators in Gladversity, he was on, and he was sharing with me something about the Great Resignation, which is taking place right now. And he was saying there were 4 different tranches out there, right? And basically there were people who were just opting to retire. And then he said there was a group that just said, I don't like this job. I'm not doing it anymore. I quit. And that particular group, I think with this COVID situation and that whole introspection, we realized one, a lot of us are living with people we don't like, right? And two, a lot of people are in jobs they don't like, and it's not aligned with their passion, it's not aligned with their dreams, it's not aligned with how they want to show up in the world. And so I'm finding that there are a lot of risk takers now, right? You're moving to a completely different place. In Mexico, just like, okay, I'm going to start fresh. I'm going to, that is such a testament to your willingness to just go, look, I need to work on me. I need a fresh start. I need to, see the world in a very different way. And I just think it's powerful, and it's courageous, and it's all you, Zurlia. Like, it just works.
Well, thank you. And yeah, it was a very ego death for sure. It was a very ouch moment, but very worth it, and I'm grateful for the experience. And I'm grateful you're sharing it with everybody as well.
Oh, for sure. And so I wanted to find out, just share with our viewers just one moment of adversity, like, what they can do as a takeaway. I like to give homework. I was a teacher.
I think always asking the right questions, like be honest with yourself. Be completely honest with yourself and ask yourself the right questions, which is something that I didn't do before. I was always like looking externally and not internally. Like I said, if somebody came and triggered me, it was always like, listen, why are you doing this? And it wasn't always like, okay, what emotion is coming up in this situation and what can I learn from it? How can I heal this? This emotion has to be there for a reason, and it comes from my childhood. So how can I work through this emotion instead of always blaming other people? Take control, take full responsibility for your own life and your own happiness. And yeah, for me, it's always ask the right questions. Be willing to give yourself the opportunity to go within and heal and get to know yourself. Like really get to know yourself.
I agree. And I also like the idea of, I love journaling because I just think it's like amazing. But with journaling, I think when you're finding yourself having a grudge, seriously, like, write a letter to that person that they never will read, but you have to dig deep into what's triggering that. To your point, what is causing that animosity? Because I'm telling you guys, it weighs heavily on your core. I believe that when you have a lot of that kind of, the grudge and the anger and resentment and all of that, I believe are just like feeding into some of the diseases that we're seeing.
Exactly.
It just does. And you'll be surprised how much lighter you feel once you get that out. Yeah, there's some tears oftentimes, but a lot of it is like, sometimes when you put it on paper, you're like, I was mad about what? For this? Like, seriously? Like, in the grand scheme of things, is it really that important? And that was one takeaway. A good friend of mine, he goes, Lauren, everything you go, wait, is it really that important? You're running 5 minutes late to a meeting. Is it really that important for you to drive like a crazy person and putting other people's lives in danger to be 5 minutes late? What is really important? So always, like in everything, just ask what's important. And to your point, what's causing this within me? And doing that introspection. I think that's so important. So my darling Zurlia, thank you so much. I thoroughly enjoyed this. I could like chat with you forever. And I'm only supposed to be half an hour, but we're like way over. But I look forward to seeing you again. And we'll talk soon, my friend.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.